Go.
Welcome back. Glad you could make it. Today we are cooking some squash, sauteed squash, zucchini, peppers with some onions. Now, everything that you are going to see me cook today, my wife and I grew it in our garden except for the virgin olive oil. Everything else. There's no pesticides on this, there's no herbicides, there's no nothing. It's just good food. And that's one of the reasons why we like to grow our own food, because there's so much of the stuff grown overseas in those little third world countries. They use pesticides and insecticides that have been outlawed inside the United States for 20 and 30 years. So what do? They just move the food production overseas, still use the stuff. So where's the American consumer left in all that? Well, we're left at the end of the food chain. Now, this came out of a garden a couple of days ago. This squash came off of a plant my daughter and I planted about 2 months ago. What you do is you just get you the squash and zucchini, cut them into strips about 1/4 inch thick, 3/8 of an inch thick. Then you cut them into quarters like that. Just bite-sized pieces. And you don't want to get your skillet too hot, because it'll start burning. Whenever you stir, use a wooden utensil to stir with. A little bit too hot. Let's turn it down. That's way too hot. Alright, now, for a little bit of spice, we have a jalapeno pepper. I'm going to use about 1/2 a pepper. And once again, I grew this, well, my wife and I, we grew this in the backyard. And the pepper is just for a little bit of spice. You don't want to add a lot to it. If there's one thing that you have absolute control over, is what you put in your mouth. And my wife and I have made a decision not to put harmful chemicals into our bodies. See how it's turning brown? Yeah, it's cooked a little bit too hot right there. It's turning a little bit brown. That's too hot. So I'll turn this heat down. There we go. Settle. And what we have here is some steak seasoning. Just sprinkle that on there real good.
That has no MSG or
It has no MSG, no artificial sweeteners, no nothing. And what we have here is just a little onion. And once again, we grew this in the backyard. There we go. Cut the roots off. Cut the top off. And just kind of dice it up real small. And onions are a good source of vitamin C. So we're going to add that in there. Zucchini and squash has all kind of trace minerals in it. One serving of squash and zucchini almost has enough vitamin C as an orange. Whenever you're putting onion, be sure and get the outside shell off because it's a little hard. Okay, there we go. Throw that in there. Stir it up a little bit. Now, some of you may be seeing this jar of jalapeno peppers. We bought this jar, and while I was out there in the backyard picking this one pepper, there was some other that were ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead and bring them in and just add them to it. So don't buy the little jars of jalapeno peppers. Buy the big jars, grow your peppers in the backyard, and just refill it. Keep them in the refrigerator. If it starts getting low on juice, just add some more vinegar to it, a little bit of salt.
Put more zucchini and squash in there.
Okay.
Before all that gets cooked.
There we go. Stir that some more. Whoops, got some on the floor. Let's cut this up. Okay. Now, I want to bring a point. These are cucumbers. Come on up here. These are cucumbers, little pickling cucumbers we got out of our garden yesterday. You ever notice at the store how shiny and green your cucumbers are? They're a solid green color. And they're real smooth. You ever wondered why that is?
Waxy.
Yep, because there's a wax coating on the cucumbers you buy at the store. If I wanted wax, I'd eat a crayon. I'd eat a candle, okay? I don't want no wax in my food. So, the only time we buy cucumbers is in the winter time, whenever we can't grow them. That's how contaminated our food supply is. You can't even buy a cucumber without a wax coating. Apples are the same way. I'm just going to cut these up and have them as a side dish. And if you want to talk about price, to grow this cucumber, cost me, I don't know, 30 cents in seed and maybe $1. So let's say $1.50 to grow 2 or 3 dozen cucumbers. You're going to pay $1.50 at the store just for this. Okay, well, our squash and zucchini just about done. I kind of overcooked a little bit. That's all right. Remember, there's no preservatives on this zucchini. There's no wax coating. There's no pesticides, no insecticides. And if you have control over one thing in life, it's what you put in your mouth. And I suggest you exercise that control with what you eat. Okay, that's just about done. Thank you for your time. I'll talk to you later.